makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagelia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of speaking with Mariana Alvarez. Mariana is a resilient entrepreneur who has overcome many challenges and become stronger than ever. She is the founder of Controller Works, a virtual outsourced accounting firm that supports small to mid-sized family-owned businesses, making a positive impact in their lives. Join me as Mariana shares her inspiring story of resilience, healing, and the pursuit of entrepreneurial success. Mariana, thank you for being here with me today, and I am so excited to have this conversation with you. Your journey from a small town in Brazil to becoming a successful entrepreneur is very inspiring. So can you share with us some of the key moments or experiences that shape your determination to push your education and build a better life for yourself?
Sure. Oh, thanks for having me. That is a pleasure. It was not really a specific moment. It was more like just a constant. Like I grew up, my parents raised us with the constant conversation in the house, the importance of higher education. You got to continue, pursue it, get a bachelor, get a master's, and go forward with your dreams. So I always grew up with that instilling in my mind. And I love books. I love studying. I'm constantly studying something. So that was not just a specific moment, but just constant of how I was raised since little by my parents.
It's more like your parents kind of like putting that into your head from the beginning. If you want to be anywhere in this world, you got to follow all of the steps and to get there.
Totally, yes. And unfortunately, they did not have a higher education. So that kind of contributed for them letting us know like how they regret it of not doing it and how important it was for us to educate ourselves and pursue higher education.
And I love parents like that. Even they didn't have it, but they fight for the kids to have it. And even if they can give it to you, but I think like the number one thing that doing it is letting you know that it's important. We might not be able to afford it right now. We were not able to have it ourselves because we couldn't afford it. Right. But you can.
Totally. And they did the best and everything they could to make sure that I went through university and graduated with bachelor's.
But you also, your life, even after having your education, things are going well, but also that your life take a turn. You overcoming abuse, fighting the strength to protect yourself and your children. And I think that was one of incredible thing as a woman. And it's unfortunate some of us have to go through things like that. Can you take us through the process of how you found strength to break free from that situation of starting, rebuilding your life again?
Sure. Those are hard times. You're right. My life did take a turn, not for a very good, but those were very, very hard times. And it was not just a process that led me to say, okay, and now it's time to get out. Was a couple of events that happened that kind of broke the spell and broke the glass, right? It got to a point where the physical hurt was imminent in myself and on my daughter. And I guess when that happened, in two specific situations, one of them, he actually broke my tooth and pretty hard. And within the same time frame, like within the same week or so, there was a situation between him and my daughter where he come bring in with a hammer and smashed the phone out of her hands. And I think that shocked me. So it was not such more as a process, as a shock of when that happened. And then it became where the fear of me leaving the relationship and me having to get out of it was not as big as the fear I start to have of staying in there or what could happen if I continue in there. So it was that shock kind of broke the spell and broke everything. And then I started to feel so much fear of being in it. Every morning I woke up and I was like, how about if my daughter had not took her hands off? That would have been her hands. So
Yep.
what's next now, right? Am I not going to be sitting here and waiting to see what's going to happen next? So that's when I was like, I got to do something. I just got to get out of here. And I think that gave me the courage, mostly seeing the danger that my kids were. And that became so clear, right? With that
Yeah.
event that I'm like, whatever happens, I just got to get out. Whatever is out there, I'm sure it's not
It's
going to be
better.
as hard that what I'm having it here is better than what I have here. So
Wow. Could have just hurt her with.
yeah, it was, I mean, by reflex, right? She pulled her hands off, and if she had not, she was
Some
11.
kids, yeah, some kids probably were just not paying attention to it and just continue whatever she
Right.
was doing.
She was 11 at the time. And then seeing that and seeing what he could do to his own kids, I'm like, I can't stay here anymore. Not for me, not for her, and not for anybody. I got to get out.
Imagine what he can do to you.
Yeah, I think after that, I didn't want to stay over there to see it anymore.
No, I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you did it because you know what? Some women actually stay and get to see it, and to a point where they lost it all. It
Yeah,
die and kids die. They find all of them dead because it's too late now. And I think you made the best choice. I know it was hard for you to walk away from it, and it's always hard, you know. But at the end of the day, I think, like you said, there's always light under the tunnel. So if we just keep moving forward, we'll find
yeah,
that light, even if it's hard.
totally. I agree with you.
So now, what did you do to turn everything around? So you walk away from this relationship, everything's have to start over again because I know during that time you own a company.
Right.
So what's now? What's next? What happened?
So what happened is, I mean, was a lot of work, like a lot of work, a lot of crying by myself late at night. But I had to go back and get a job. So I ended up going to corporate. I needed an income, right? I need
Yes.
to rebuild it back again and put my life on a stable place. Um, so it was just a lot of work. I did used to work 15, 16, 17 hours a day. My daughter helping me. But I guess what gave me the strength was knowing that she was actually happier that we were not there anymore. So, and seeing her smile back again and seeing her feel like, um, and me too, like we were starting to breathe back again. We were not waking up scared and afraid of what was going to happen that day. So that gave me the strength to go back and work and get back to corporate. I got a job until I battled the 2 years of divorce process in court and custody and whatnot. Um, but it was a lot of work, but I did find very, very good people who helped me a lot. The people who gave me the job, those I am eternally grateful to him for giving me the chance because I was over 5 years out of corporate world, right? So
Yeah.
you get that break in your resume and then you have to go back and explain why you have this break in your resume. So I'm forever grateful for that person who gave me the job and believed in me that I could do good. So
I guess at the end of the day, God will always send the help when we need it.
I did learn that for sure, Nagilia. I did learn he put the right people in the right path at the right time when I needed the most. He did. I did find what I needed. Thank God.
But what inspired you to go back to entrepreneurship and start your own business again?
So I always being, I grew up, my parents always had business, right? So when I was in high school, my first job was working for my father's company. He either between different business, but he always had business. So I grew up listening to my mom and my dad talking. Oh, the problems we're having with cash flow, the problems we're having with the employee, the problems we're having with that, or when things went great, now how happy they were that they were successful on their business and how that reflected on us as kids. Um, so I found myself in corporate after things stabilized. It's like I am not finding my own path. It's like, that's not really what my soul wants to do. That's not my truth self. I was very happy. I was performing very good, but I start to put myself back as a first person right in my life. It's like, what do I want it to do for my life? Where do I want it to be? And that path was not going to take me there. So I decided like, well, need to be true to myself and go what I wanted to do it. So I took the leap and quit corporate and decided to go back to own my own business where I support a small family owned business it talks to my heart, to my roots. So that's what it's just going back to myself and saying, what do I want it to do now that I am in this path again, alone, and believing that I could do it.
But previously, you owned a company before that when you were with your husband.
Yes, correct. We did own a traditional brick and mortar accounting firm for 5-6 years until the divorce happened. So I always knew that I like it, and I like it owning a company. I like being the business owner. I like helping other clients with my own firm. So I just had to go back to corporate right during the divorce because I needed find
income,
my way.
Yes.
I needed income, and I need to put myself on a stable position again where I could stand up and say, I am ready to venture again and start it again.
But I think what you did also was the right thing too, because you also have a kid to take care of.
Yeah.
And you have to keep that in mind as well. And starting in your business usually take a little bit of a time to bring the clients in, bring the money in. You spend more than you get more, than you get.
Yeah.
So, and also I think that kind of also help you clear out your mind, because entrepreneurship can get a little bit lonely when you start it on your own. Before you find your tribe, but it's going to be you by yourself every single day, sitting in the desk, doing your own thing. But I think like being in corporate and going through that divorce and through all of this thing that just happened to your life, kind of, you are around people. Even then the problems are still there, but it helps you to keep them out for a certain time while you are busy, probably talking to colleagues, doing other things, because you're not ill. You have other people around you compared being like just at home on your own business.
So, yes, totally. And that's why I think part of it, why I did not mind working so many hours, because I was first distracting myself, right, from everything that was going on the background of the life. I made friends, and I met very great people that I still be in touch with it now, and I learned a lot from them. And we had the opportunity to share, and kind of really find a shoulder to lean on while I was going through that, and then kind of put myself back together as a person that needed recovery and needed to rebuild myself.
Exactly. So now you're focused on supporting small to mid-sized family-owned businesses. It's interesting because a lot of small businesses need the help. And then for the first 5 to 6 years, we can use all the help that we can get. So how do you feel your own experiences, both personal and professional, have shaped the way you approach your work and provide support to these business owners?
Right. Yeah. It just started like since going back, right? Because I grew up with my parents owning business. So I lived from that perspective of how it is. And it instilled in me a great respect for family owned business, which is the mom and dad trying to build a life for themselves. A lot of them, the dreams are to maybe put their kids to college or leave a legacy for their kids to inherit their business. And they need so much support, like you said, in any aspect, in all the aspects. It's kind of like they are on that journey. And you mentioned in the beginning, it's lonely in the beginning, right? When you're building your own company, it's pretty lonely. So I feel realized when I can tell that I am a little bit of the arm that they can help or a shoulder that they can lean on. Sometimes we're more than just accountants, right? I find myself just talking about their own family, about their kids that are starting school. And I related to that because it's part of what I go through it with my own business, building it up. So I think it's very relatable. And that's where I can bring it in and put in my experience because I understand when they say, well, I barely have money to make payroll this week and I don't know what to do. So I know exactly what they're talking about because I've been there and I know how that feeling is. So I can help. I mean, it's not that I can make money appear, but sometimes you can help with business strategies, or if not, just that support, like let's work this way here and there today, but then next week we'll make it in a better plan. And they know that they're not alone, right? They can go to home at night and feel like I am not so alone in this journey of building my business. And that
Exactly.
makes me feel complete.
I like that. Then, especially when you say they are not alone, and it's hard to find another partner when it's come to business that can guide. But now, let's talk a little bit about Controller Works, which is the name of the company. So, what are the services? Well, what is it about, and what are the services that the company offers?
Great. Yes, I offered everything on accounting perspective, right? From the standard, very small bookkeeping with banks reconciliation on a month-to-month basis, all the way for a larger family-owned business that need a little bit more help and controller, right? That's why I call that controller. So it's kind of like the controller that actually works. So I provide that support on accounts payable, accounts receivables, management of processes, and control of budgeting and expenses. And then all the way up to the end of the year, I also prepared their taxes. And then throughout the year, since we're going that monthly follow up with them, comes in the tax planning, right? So here where we are looking at mid-year, what is the perspective for the following, the coming up of the next 6 months, where we're going to fall in terms of profits for taxes. So I provide all that support and that planning. And then we come to that conversation. So what are their plans, right? What they wanted to do with their business, with their life, where they wanted to achieve. So then I can incorporate the support that I think would be the best for them. So that's where Controller Works comes in, is more like the support that they needed and the right arm for them to run their business.
When you say support, you really mean support.
I do. That's I wanted them to feel that because a lot of what I learned with my experience is a lot of the business owners like, well, I try to contact my accountant, but he's not available. Or I send an email, I don't hear from them. I don't hear from them for a week. So I have the thing is like, you would hear from me within 24 hours. Even if I don't know the answer, at least you're going to hear from me that I am searching it and I'll get back to you. So they know that it's not an email sitting on an inbox somewhere that they don't know when they're going to get it back, right? So I come in with I want to make sure that they know that they can count on my experience, on my expertise to help them grow their business.
So also you provide the quarterly filing payroll taxes like 941, 940 and all these things?
All that. The entire payroll suite, and then hire, not a human resources in the sense of hire, but if they hire, I integrate their new hire into the payroll per platform, do the forms that needs to get done. And then we talk about strategies if they feel like they need to raise their employee or they need to let it go of somebody who's not working very well on their team. So I come in with all that as well in terms of payroll and personnel.
And at the end of the year, do you also file the tax?
Yes. For the clients who are working with me on a monthly basis, I do file their business and personal taxes.
Wow, this is like a one-stop shop.
Pretty much.
You don't need to go anywhere else. That's it.
Pretty much.
But quick question for you. What about you never come to client that doesn't actually want you as a full-time, but they want you to come in a certain time and do certain things, or perhaps even set up the QuickBooks or whatever software they are using and teach them how to use it? You never have clients like that, or you just go straight handling everything you're on?
No, I do have, I try to be very customized to what the client needs, right? So if the client don't want the entire full support, or sometimes they can't afford just yet, they just need, let me set up QuickBooks and give me a little guidance of how to manage QuickBooks. So then I'll go in with that. And then eventually what happens is with the time as they're growing, they reach out back. It's like, well, finish the quarter. Can you take a look to make sure what I'm doing is in the right path? So then I kind of just go review what they're doing. And as they grow, then they might inquire me to come in on a monthly basis or not. But it's very customized to the client.
It's what they're looking for.
Correct. Yes.
But, building a successful business can take a little bit of challenges, especially that you went through a divorce and went back to corporate, you have kid. So any challenges that you face starting a new company?
There is many, right? It's not an easy job. It's not an easy task. A lot of people think, well, she owns her own business, so now she works less and she has more time. That is becoming pretty clear, I guess, that that's not how it works, right? We work more
Yes.
because it's our own. So you also have that sense of pride. So I work weekends, evenings, whatever. If it needs to get done, it's going to get done. Doesn't matter what time of the day or night it is. Um, but it required a lot of will. You gotta really want it to do that because it's not going to be an easy task. The hardest challenge that I found was to start it and to find your first couple of clients is pretty challenging and lonely because you're just sitting in there trying to put it all the ways around, like your advertising and your marketing. And in my case, I'm an accountant, but I learned how to market. I learned how to sales. I learned how to do a little bit of everything because it's right in the beginning. But once you start to get the 1, 2, 3, 4 clients, things start to kind of like open up and give you that more confidence. It's like, well, think I'm on the right path. Things are going well. So let's just keep battling it. It's going to work it out.
It's going to work out. Yes. So building a successful business while healing from past trauma, well, again, that's challenging. So now how do you balance your personal healing journey with the demands of entrepreneurship? And what advice would you give to others who may be facing similar challenges?
It's, I don't think right now, looking back, maybe I haven't not approached it on the best way because the way that I did is I really dove into the work. It was a way for me to not think about it too much of what was going on and give myself and my heart time to heal or at least to calm down because right when the divorce happened, I had a lot of resentment, a lot of negative thoughts and negative feelings in regards to the entire situation, right? It was a long-term marriage and it's not easy when you dismantle a family for whatever reason it is. So I needed time for myself to be able to calmly think about it without bursting into tears. So during that time, I just worked like no tomorrow. And with the time passed by, I kind of start to feel more calm. And then I was like, okay, now I can process a little bit more. And there's a lot of really, you have to accept what happened, accept your pain, absorb the pain, but then try to use and put everything that happened to you to something good and coming something good out of it, which is what I'm trying to do now, which is putting out there my story and hopefully be as an inspiration to others that it is hard, but it's doable. You don't have to be stuck on that situation. You do not have to let it happen to you and be quiet.
Yes.
By yourself. It's not going to be easy, but it's doable. There are people out there that can help, that is willing to help. And you just need to be able to ask for the help. And that's my goal now is just to spread that in the story for other women and other children, because it's heartbroken to see what my kids went through and what I went through as well. But you always feel more for your kids, right?
Yes.
So I want to make sure that others know that for harder that it can be, for darker that it can look, there is a light out there, there is an exit, and there are people willing to help.
It's not impossible. You just have to find the right support.
Exactly.
And well said, actually, because like I said before, I met many people that went through the same situation as you, just didn't turn out the exact same way. And also I've seen it in the news as well, where they end up dead and their kids and everyone just die. So I think that if you feel like it's going to get to that situation, or you feel like it's not safe anymore, I know it's hard, but you know what? Your life worth way more than that.
Totally.
So you'll find someone else, or if you don't ever find someone else, it's okay, because you know what? Your kids is the best happiness you can ever have.
I never felt more fulfilled and more complete now that I know that I am in peace and that my kids are safe and in peace.
Yes.
There's no price for them.
There's none. So now, what are your future goals and for both your personal and professional life?
I do. I want to continue to grow Controller Works. I have a lot of pride on having that company up and running, so I want to make sure that it becomes successful. And as a personal goal, I do wish that one day I can write it down, my story, and share my story to more people. I wanted to bring it out there. It's really just bring it out and being a support and an inspiration to others, and help as far as I can, other women out of this situation.
And I cannot wait to read it. I'll be your first buyer.
Thank you.
So, how can someone reach out to you for support, or reach out to Controller Works for your help, for your guidance with the business?
Of course, Controller Works, we have our website, which is www.controllerworks.com. They can reach out directly to me via email. The information is all on the website, so they can reach out by email or by phone. And I'm also on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and Instagram, just by looking at Mariana Alvarez, and I'll be happy to assist.
And looking back on your journey, what are some of the key lessons or insight you have gained about resilience, personal growth, or even pursuing the happiness?
I learned that personal growth is something that is a constant. You're always growing, and that's the goal, right? Hopefully that we are evolving all the time, evolving to become better versions of ourselves, better people, better human beings. And I learned that happiness is more like a decision. You make a decision to be happy regardless of where we are. The struggles are hard, and none of us wants, right? Nobody wish to go through the struggles or to go through hard times, but you just got to learn to look of the lesson that you can take it from everything. And then decide to be happy and be grateful from where you are, and be strong. Don't give up. There is a future for all of us. God intends us to be happy and to be fruitful and to be kind to one another. So it's the spreading of their values. And I think when you live your life carrying those, you kind of just collect the fruit out of it.
That's true. That is really true. So, what message would you like to leave with our listeners, especially those who are going through challenging times or seeking inspiration to pursue their dreams?
It's stay hopeful. Don't let it go of the hope. Do the best you can in everything you do it, from the smallest little task to the biggest ones. As long as you're putting out your best, you're going to collect the rewards. Stay strong, believe it in yourself, and trust that we are here for a good reason. We are not here to suffer. We are here to fruitfully live together in kindness and in love. And there are people out there that it is following the same thoughts. So you're not alone. You might not have found it yet. You probably can't see it yet, but there is out there.
But you know, one thing, Maya, is the fact that sometimes we meet people, we don't realize why we met that person in the first place. And we learn the lesson after that person walk away from our lives, that, oh, that's what I'm supposed to learn from you. And I think that's what you said is very true, is the fact that we will meet the person who's supposed to support, supposed to guide. And I think it's be open-minded that he might not come in the form you are looking for, Sometimes God send them in a mystery way to come and help you and guide you to your next chapter of your life. And I thank you very much for sharing part of your story, because I didn't go through all the entire story, because I know it's a very long story that, like you say, you want to write a book about it. And I think that's going to be a very inspiring story that people will need to read and take some advice from it as well, because it's come from experience. It's the thing that's happened to you in your life. And it's not just you, it's happening to, it's also happening to other women as well. But when women like you step forward and said, I am willing to tell you what happened to me so you can avoid it from happening to you, I think it's magical, it's beautiful. And in another word, we should just say to you, thank you, because we need women like you to show us the path, you know?
That I think that is right there, my main goal. I think what happened, it kind of also helped me to realize, what am I here for? And it's for that is to make sure that I don't stay quiet now anymore, that I'm going to speak up and I'm going to share and I'm going to hopefully help somebody else. If I help just one lady or one person or one child, that would be all worthwhile already.
I think you are already helping. You just doesn't realize it. You don't realize it yet. You just don't. Well, I thank you so much for giving me the chance to have this conversation with you. And I appreciate your bravery and to walk away from relationships sometimes, especially when you have kids. It's the hardest thing to do ever. Yeah. And to stand and to share that story, it's even harder. So I thank you for what you are doing, and keep doing it, and don't ever give up.
Thank you, Nicolita. I appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.